Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the football podcast. It's what will it be, like the games before the Christmas break, but there's probably no Christmas break, and we just keep rolling with the podcast, but there's football to discuss, so here's a football podcast. Yeah, we're clear? Yeah, we're clear. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. The big one, the one we like the absolute most, is share the podcast around. If you know somebody that's into football, send them this podcast. They'll love it. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, football podcast.
Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. And it is your CookieCast podcast network. Football podcast for the week. It's week 17 that we're discussing tonight. Obviously, we're discussing the games that have taken place. 3, to be exact. 1 apiece for each of our teams. I'm not alone, as the people who have joined us on YouTube can attest to. I'm joined by Mez's. I was about to say Cook. I think at this point I'm at a 1 generic balls up per podcast.
Just one.
I'm batting about just one, but it's just one. But it's usually a pretty massive one. So it's not Mez's Cook. It's Mez's Woodmansey and Moore. How are we this week, gents?
Very good.
All right.
Matt is as of yet undecided, but more of that later. So, just the 3 games this week to take us into the Christmas period. Our last games each before the big day. The first of which took us to Bristol, where Bristol City were taking on Milo at Middlesbrough. And I went into this not very optimistic, as Middlesbrough's record at Bristol City is appalling. However, Kim Hellberg went into this knowing that if he got a win, he would go down the history books as the first manager in the Championship to win his first 5 games in a row. Would he get that 5th win in a row? No, he wouldn't, because obviously it's Middlesbrough playing at Ashton Gate. And the only North East team that's allowed to do well at Ashton Gate is Hartlepool United in a playoff final during COVID restrictions. So, yes, from the highlights that I saw, Borough really should have taken the lead early in the first half. A bit of a loose back pass by the Bristol City player was seized upon by Tommy Conway. He played the ball into Morgan Whittaker on the edge of the box, who his effort smashed back off the post. So, should be 1-0 up. And they had another chance to make it 1-0. But that again flashed wide of the keeper's post to keep it at 0-0, and they were punished for not taking those chances on the 17th minute when Emil Rees broke from the halfway line with the ball, carried it a long distance. No one put a tackle in at any point, which was irritating, to say the least. Got to the edge of the box, had an effort which was blocked, smothered by the Borough defence, but the ball came back to him, and he was able to get a shot off that sort of crept under Sol Bryn from the edge of the box, one that Bryn, looking back on, was very disappointed in himself that he wasn't able to save. And he definitely should have done better with it, as it wasn't really that powerful, one that he definitely could have got to, but sadly he didn't, and Bristol City found themselves 1-0 in front. Again, going off the highlights, it was Borough that then should have really equalised. There was a bit of sloppy play at the back by the Bristol City goalkeeper. He gave the ball away. I believe it was Conway who again seized upon it. A little bit of interplay between the Borough players. Made the ball eventually fall to Hayden Hackney. His effort was blocked near the goal line and rebounded into the air, back into the gloves of the keeper, who was very happy to see it back in his possession. Tommy Conway was the next person to miss a chance against his former club, no doubt. around the penalty spot, his effort just flashed wide of the post. Alex Gilbert did similar, except he was from the edge of the box. Into the second half, it was 1-0 at the break to Bristol City. Morgan Whittaker again brought a save from the goalkeeper low down to his left-hand side. And Gilbert, once again, brought the keeper into action with another drive from just outside the box that he was able to tip wide. But once again, Borough punished for not taking their chances when Bristol City made it 2-0 from a corner in the 62nd minute. Atkinson was unmarked, or his run was untracked into the box, and he planted his header straight past Brim from around the 6-yard box. So 2-0 to Bristol City on 62 minutes. Borough toiled away, tried to get back into the game with a couple more chances, but they weren't able to stick the ball in the back of the net, and Bristol City eventually ran out very comfortable 2-0 winners. Very disappointing. But like I said, I went in with hopes that they might be able to get something from the game, but they didn't, because it's Bristol City and they're a set of shithouses. So there you go. 2-0 Bristol City. The one thing I do take from the game is the fact that I had very sensibly predicted that Emile Rees would score against the Borough, because ever since he was born, I believe there was an edict sent down from the gods above that said that any time Emile Rees plays against Middlesbrough for any team, he must score. So he did it for Preston. He's doing it for Bristol City, and I will certainly be putting some money on him the next time that Bristol City play Middlesbrough at the Riverside later on this season. So I had a 2-2 draw with Rees, Twine, and Conway to all score. So I don't get any points for the result, but I do get my bonus point for the Rees goal. Stuart gone for a 2-1 Borough win. Conway, McGree, and Rees. Oh, one thing that did come out of this game, sadly, McGree injured in the first 15 minutes of the game. Very disappointing, as he's just come back from a long injury layoff. They don't think he'll be too bad, but the chances are he'll probably miss Boxing Day and potentially a few games after that. But we'll wait and see. Matt had gone for a 1-1 draw, had Conway to score for the Borough, and had gone for Rees to score for Bristol, because he also knew the script. So everyone gets a point for the Emile Rees goal. So 1 point across the board for myself, Mr. Stuart. Jesus Christ, there's the second cock-up of the day. Mr. Woodmansey and Mr. Moore. So our second game of the week took us to the MKM Stadium, where Hull City were playing a team of West Bromwich Albion. And they turned up with an intention to play nothing but great attacking and fluid football, I understand, Mr. Woodmansey.
What, our lot or West Brom?
Oh, no, West Brom, famed for, wanting to get the ball down and play, and definitely not pulling shirts and, just ramming into tackles and whatnot.
Generally speaking, in all my time of seeing them play against Hull, it has been with footballing intent. For whatever reason, this week, they just decided, we're not going to buy one of those replica shirts, boys. We're just going to take them off your back whilst you're wearing it. Thank you very much. Having said that, West Brom definitely dominated the game, particularly in the first half. Started early, stringing passes together and keeping possession. The problem was when they didn't have possession, they kept trying to win it back by nefarious means, with the shirt pulling being prolific. More prolific than their strikers, as we'll get to. So, on around the 12-minute mark, Callum Styles was fouled just inside the Hull half by Ollie McBurney, and a very quick free kick almost caught Hull out. It was played down the left wing to find Grant, who then squared to Price, who very worryingly was all on his own inside the 6-yard box. That's it. You're thinking 1-0. Unless you're going to make the goal for him the height of the stadium as he almost hit the roof, no. Thankfully, that to me, that's down as miss of the season. I've seen it back a couple of times as well, and there's maybe an argument to be made that a few yards in front of him, it bounced up. Not as fucking much as it did when it came off his foot, though. Jesus Christ. It was awful. One of them sort of, I would hope as an opposition striker that miss lives long in the memory. But yeah, definitely one that was easier to score. But after another misplaced Hull pass, not very long after, Isaac Price put Grant through on goal. So a bit of a reverse of what had just happened. But this time it was Grant's turn to drag his volley wide of the left post, when again, probably easier to score. During the first half, there was a really bad clash of heads, which saw Charlie Hughes having to change his bloodied shirt and then going full Terry Butcher with the headband. But he did carry on. He stuck it out, despite the fact that by the end of the game, he did actually look like he'd been through some sort of small war. But the treatment for the head injury added around 8 minutes of injury time for the first half. And in the sixth of those 8 minutes, Hull got a corner. It was floated in by Ryan Giles. It wasn't met with a decisive Hull header. It wasn't met with a decisive defensive header. It was high-fived by West Brom's Nat Phillips, penalty to Hull. How they could try and deny it as well was just ridiculous. I don't know what... Any defender that hopes to achieve anything by jumping with that arm raised directly above their head in the air is only going to end one way if you make contact. And that was a penalty to Hull this time around. McBurney very quickly picked the ball up, and the West Brom goalkeeper straight away went for his drinks break to absolutely look at his water bottle to find out which way McBurney usually shoots. The problem for the West Brom keeper was that McBurney was watching him the whole time. He'd turned his back on McBurney. McBurney had clocked what he was doing and had a little smile on his face. Now, apparently, the penalties that he's taken over the last 6 to 12 months have predominantly gone to the bottom right-hand corner. So the keeper's bottom left. McBurney very, very cheekily decided to just hit it straight down the middle and watch the goalkeeper dive out of the way, which, in his celebration, took great pride in running past the goalkeeper with a big grin on his face, giving him a little tap on the tummy as he went by, just to say thanks very much for doing my job for me, basically. Cheeky fucker. But yeah, 1-0 to Hull. Personally speaking, I hate penalties that go down the middle, because to me, it's such a high chance that the keeper just, even if they don't stay there, that they haven't fully dived and just clear it with their feet. And I always find it a little bit, I don't know. I'd rather he put it over the bar going for top bins than hit it down the middle, but I guess at least it went in. 1-0 at half time, and it probably realistically should have been at least 1-2. In comparison to the first half, the second half was pretty much dull and lifeless, and it was not really helped by West Brom substitute Gilchrist and his entire 8-minute cameo appearance. He was subbed on in the 67th minute, and he got a straight red card on the 75th. Pretty bad tackle on Liam Miller. Sort of coming from behind, came across him, and as he did it, managed to bundle him pretty much into the technical area for West Brom and try and sort of stamp on him at the same time. I think it looked worse in real time. All of the commentary that I've heard and seen since has been, I don't know if it was a straight red. But there was definitely sort of like a downwards motion, which is the only thing I can really think that the referee and assistants have potentially spotted. To seemingly everybody's surprise, straight red wasn't a yellow. And then from that point onwards, absolutely nothing else happened. So it finished 1-0 to Hull, which is now 3 wins in a row. And despite not being able to spend a single penny in the summer or register a player that they'd already committed to buy, do not adjust your sets. Hull are 4th at Christmas. Absolutely funny, but we'll take it.
4th on the table. 5 points off second, I think.
Yeah.
Second place, of course, being Middlesbrough. Don't think anyone had that on their bingo card at the start of the season. Borough second, Hull in the top 6. No chance. For the particular the game here, Matt had gone for a 1-1 draw with Balumi and Hegabo as his goal scorers. So sadly, no points for Mr. Moore. Stuart gone for a 2-2 draw. Balumi, McBurney, Price and Hegabo. So just a bonus point for the McBurney goal for Mr. Woodmansey. I'd gone for a 2-1 Hull win with goals for Millar, McBurney and Hegabo. So I get myself a bonus point and a point for the correct result. So 2 points for me, point for Mr. Woodmansey, no points for Mr. Moore. Taking us into our last game of the week, which may or may not have literally just finished seconds ago, where Fulham were taking on Nottingham Forest. Not the best.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you guys watched it, so you probably no.
Wasn't a first half to write home about, I would say.
And I mean, from what I've kind of read from like live reporting and stuff like that, Forest had more of the second half. They kind of got. So yeah. From what I've read and kind of seen, due to the fact that I was watching it via Sky Sports News and there was little to no highlights on there, would kind of give the hint to me. So pretty dull first half, and then in added time, is it Kevin went into the box? Ball kind of, I think Louise cut the ball out, but obviously was kind of not stood up. So then swung a leg at it, and Kevin again managed to stick himself in between ball and foot in just enough amount of time to get kicked, and therefore it's like the standard. It's called the Anthony Gordon penalty. Would be my kind of thing of if you stick yourself in the way of someone swinging at a ball, even though they've already, it's like that. We talk about on the NFL thing when, like a defender lines up generally Patrick Mahomes and is already committed to making the tackle, and then he slides all of a sudden, and the defender takes his head off, and it's kind of like, yeah. I mean, I don't know how you put it, kind of. How physiology works. If you start moving your leg, it's very, very difficult to stop your leg from moving, in the same way of once you've launched yourself to try and tackle somebody with all your weight, it's very difficult to stop that weight or redirect that weight. But yeah, so penalty given, it's one of those ones that's given all the time. Soft, but okay. And then Jimenez, who apparently has scored 11 out of 11 penalties. He's the most prolific penalty scorer in Premier League history, which I was surprised at because I thought someone like Ivan Toney would be up there or something like that. No wonder he's good at scoring penalties, because he puts 2 or 3 stutters in there, then has a little bit of a long old wait for the goalkeeper to commit himself. And once the keeper commits himself, he scores goals. Now, I'm sure we've talked about this before. This pisses me off. This is in the bracket of what we've talked about before. Like, the striker's already got the advantage with the penalty because they know where they're going, they know how hard they can hit it, and the goalkeeper is a lot smaller than the goal. They're not playing in hockey goals, are they? So then why on earth are they allowed to? I know the stutter's not a stop, but they're not exactly progressing towards the ball, are they? And then these ones where they kind of like, I don't know, almost slow motion kind of thing until the goalkeeper moves. it looks like they've stopped to me, kind of thing. Now it might be my eyes, but it looks like they've stopped to me. At some point, they're going to say, right, lads, you just need to run up and take your fucking penalty instead of stopping and starting and all this. I know they've got rid of the stopping and starting thing. You've got to continue your motion. But when you're stuttering on the step, stuttering on the spot, like your thing. So, but either way, yeah, he tucked it in the back of the net, sending the keeper the wrong way. And from the report that I've read, basically, they came out second half, parked the bus, and Forest tried to break them down, couldn't, and lose 1-0. I think I said last week we never win at Fulham. And yeah, there we go. That carries on.
Yeah, I think the fact that Sky Sports gave the Man of the Match award to one of the Fulham centre-halves probably tells you all you need to know about the second half. Yeah, it got a bit chippy towards the end, about 85 minutes in or something like that. Forrest swung a chance in, and Milinkovic went up for a header at the back post. Felt a little nudge in the back, and obviously went to ground a little bit theatrically, but well within his rights to obviously. Like, if you watch it back, he clearly does get like a little bit of a touch in the back. Ref was having none of it, but obviously the Fulham players took it upon themselves to enact their own type of justice by viciously and with malicious intent to wound, lightly shoving him, which of course caused a mass melee, and cards were distributed. And just another one of the things that pisses me off about football these days, when all those testosterone filled big hard men, they've just got to square up to each other and be like, I'd do you in if I wasn't going to get sent off. I'm going to push you to show how hard I am.
I think there's a American basketball player, Jalen Rose. He's like late 90s, early 2000, played for Michigan and all that, kind of in the Fab Four, and he calls it a hold me back moment. And he's like, he's in the basketball, of course, someone who's 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", built like a brick shithouse is managing to be held back by a 5'10" referee. And it's amazing the strength of these referees are managed to hold back this person who's nearly 300 pounds. And it's the same in football, isn't it? These like guys that are over 6 foot and manage to be held back either by their much smaller colleagues or also a referee who manages to get himself in the middle of things.
It's just nonsense. Like I said, I've said it to you boys before. I just wish that at some point one of them would just actually go and knock the other one out, because at least it would show that, yeah, maybe they do have the bollocks to do it, at least once in their life.
It's never going to happen,
alas,
is it? Because they're looking at like a 3-game ban and fine of wages and all the rest of it. It's like,
well,
the bottom line is, if the referees actually had the ability and power to sort out all this niggly little shit that keeps happening in every game ever at the moment, that would solve it.
Yeah, true. So, our last game of the week for predictions, I'd gone for a 1-1 draw with Wilson and Igor Jesus to score. So no points for me. Woeful 0 points to end the week with the last game. Stu had gone for a 3-2 Fulham win, a brace for Wilson and a Jimenez goal, Gibbs White and Igor Jesus for Forest. So 2 points for him. Matt had gone for a 2-1 Fulham win, Jimenez and Wilson, Igor Jesus to score for Forest. So 2 points for Matt. So week's ending scores: 3 points from 3 games for myself, 3 points from 3 games for Mr. Moore, 4 points from 3 games for Mr. Woodmansey, with the win for the week, as it were. So that brings us to the end of week 17. We now will look ahead to festive football, ladies and gentlemen. This is our last podcast prior to the big day, as we covered earlier on. So all the fixtures we're going to be looking at in the second half of the podcast will be Boxing Day onwards. Plenty of games to be getting to you. So we'll start with Middlesbrough versus Blackburn Rovers once we have taken a very short break Don't go anywhere. And we are back. So that's week 17, done and dusted in the record books. We move to week 18, and it's the festive fixtures, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Boxing Day games, which I should be saying there are 3 of, but the Premier League couldn't possibly do games on Boxing Day, could they? Oh, no. That would be too easy. That would be too, actual tradition. So sadly, Nottingham Forest not playing on Boxing Day this year, which I'm sure Mr. Murray's absolutely thrilled about. But we'll get to that when we get to the Forest game that's being played on the Saturday, which doesn't have a name. It's just Saturday. So there you go.
Normal football day.
So, yes, that is it. It's football day, but Boxing Day is big time football day, and of which the first game.
Whoa! You're all forgetting. It's quite clearly Rusev Day.
Oh, but every day is Rusev Day, especially WrestleMania 31 inside a tank. For those who know, they know. So the first of our 2 Boxing Day fixtures sees my lot, Middlesbrough, taking on Blackburn Rovers. It's my team. I'll give my prediction last. So let's go for the first prediction of week 18 to Mr. Stuart Woodmansey. What do you think for Borough versus Blackburn Rovers?
I have gone for the Splinters option here. I'm going for a 1-1. Having seen Blackburn this season, more than I would like to, because we've drawn them in the FA Cup as well. So that'll be another thrilling encounter. May I point out, actually, the good point about this game is at least it's at Borough, so you know that the game is going to get finished when it rains. But yeah, I've gone Strelic for Borough and Cantwell. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Oh, nice. Let's keep it at least somewhat PG.
And it's slightly differently. It would sum him up.
Matt?
I've gone for Borough to get it back on track. So I've gone for a 2-1 Borough win. And I've gone for Whittaker and Strelic for the Borough and Ohashi for Blackburn.
Lovely stuff. Stu clearly got the memo on this one. I've been saying it for the past 4-5 years on the podcast. We cannot beat Blackburn at home. It is one of the universal truths of football. As we discussed in the first half, the first universal truth was that if Emile Reese is playing against the Borough, he will fucking score. But the other one is that for some reason, Blackburn just have the Indian sign over Borough when it comes to playing games at the Riverside. They just, I can't actually remember the last time, if any, they got anything other than a draw or a loss out of this fixture. So I don't see being any different here. I've gone for a 1-1 draw myself. I've gone for Conway and Good Johnson. Anytime I see Blackburn score these days, it seems to be him that's got it. So I'll go with him to continue to go form. It'll probably turn out he's got an ACL injury or something and he's done for the rest of the season. But never mind. That's our first game, done and dusted. Our second game sees Sheffield Wednesday taking on Hull City. And of course, this is Mr. Woodmansey's team, so he will go last. But obviously, I have to ask the question because I already know the answer. It's a festive fixture. Will you be in attendance?
It's an hour and 10 minutes down the road. Yes, we will. And confirmed on the day that this very podcast was being recorded. It's a sold-out away end, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh.
So it should be pretty feisty.
Lovely stuff. Hopefully a nice, rapturous atmosphere. I've gone for a 3-0 away win. Sheffield Wednesday are missing players because of the African Cup of Nations, and they already had a threadbare squad as it is. So I think Hull will be able to take very much advantage of that. I've gone for goal scorers McBurney, Balumi, and don't know why, just got a feeling Giles. You would hear first. Have a little fiver on that, ladies and gentlemen. Matt?
I've gone for a very similar scoreline as yourself, but it being like the festive period, I've been kind and given Sheffield Wednesday a goal, so I've gone 3-1. I've gone for Cadamarteri for Sheffield Wednesday, just as for probably people of our age kind of thing. You could probably remember Danny Cadamarteri, and I was like, all right, yeah, that guy. And then I've gone for Crooks, because he sounds like he's from Sheffield or around that way anyway. Millar, and because I suspect that Sheffield Wednesday are about his level, Carl Joseph.
Matt, of course, forgetting that he had a brace not that long ago.
Yeah.
Old Kyle. And obviously, festive name.
Yeah.
Should have thought about that, really. Damn it. Stu, how do you see it playing out?
I mean, you say a festive name, but let's not forget that he was the guy that was completely fucked over in that entire story. But we'll park that there. Matt's prediction was heading exactly the same way as mine, but I knew that he wouldn't bring himself to say the last name that's written on my list. So, Paul clearly been blinded by the fact that we managed to keep a clean sheet for the third time possibly this season against West Brom, forgetting that we can't defend for shit. Hence, Cadamarteri for Sheffield Wednesday, Crooks, Miller, and McBurney for Hull. For me, please.
Crooks, Miller, McBurney. Lovely stuff. Almost didn't fill in the scoreline there. That would have been catastrophic. We move to the Saturday after Boxing Day, where we will be at the City Ground for Nottingham Forest versus Manchester City. Obviously, this is Mr. Mo's team. He will be giving his prediction last. Are you in attendance for this one?
No. This was, These tickets.
We'll get to that.
It would be.
I see. We'll get to that later on then. So, Mr. Mo's team, he will give the predictions last. Let's go to Stu for his prediction for Forest versus City.
I have gone Forest 1, Manchester City 2. I feel like Forest seem to be... they've got a goal in them at the moment again, which is nice to see, but I feel like they're hitting Man City at the exact wrong time. Man City have just found a gear in the last few weeks, which is not ideal. So I've gone for Gibbs White for Forest, and I've gone for Haaland because, he's got records to smash to bits. And seeing as they used his name in an excellent festive pun, I have gone for Cherky.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
I
didn't know whether I was...
He scored an absolute rocket, and it was Cherky and all the trimmings.
Ah, lovely. I didn't know if we were getting reindeers or reindeers.
No.
Potentially. Very similar to you, I have gone for Manchester City to win by 1 goal, but I have gone for a 2-3 scoreline in this one. I've gone for I've gone for a pair of H's. I've gone for Hudson-Odoi and Hutchinson to score for Forest. I've continued the theme with Haaland getting a brace, and I've gone for Foden to get what I suppose would be the winner in this scenario. Matt, how do you see it playing out?
I'd say I've agreed with you guys. I've probably gone even more pessimistic than you guys. I agree with the fact that, obviously Forest beat Man City at home last year, 1-0, but this is a very different Man City team from last year. If you think it's not even the new players that they bought in; it's the fact that their players that were there already are now in form. I.e., so it's in a minute, Philip Foden. So I've gone for a 3-1 Man City win. I think it could be a bad day at Forest. I mean, at this point, at this point in Christmas, he might only be 2 or 3 days old. But I've got Jesus to score for Forest. Can't and then I've just gone for the hits. Really, I've got Haaland to get one, Silva to get one, and Foden to get one as well.
Definitely no reindeers there. Right. Our fourth game of the festive period. It's the second podcast derby of the season, ladies and gentlemen. It's Middlesbrough versus Hull City. Now, as at time of recording, I know that 33% of the podcast will be in attendance. It's definitely not going to be 100% of the podcast. It might not even be 66% of the podcast, as I have to work the following day. So it will definitely depend on whether or not I am, willing to make myself absolutely shagged. Would be the technical term for that. Yes, Mr. Woodmansey.
I'm driving straight to Rochdale after it finishes, so go fuck yourself. Get on with it.
Right,
Stop being a pussy.
I have to ask the question there. I've been to Rochdale on several occasions. Why on earth are you driving to Rochdale?
Because it's kind of close to Manchester, and it beats driving all the way to Manchester straight after the game.
Oh, okay, that sort of answers the question, I suppose. But
The day after, we're going to Manchester. So if I now get followed because of you asking questions, because we're that famous now.
Obviously, clearly,
it's on. If ladies and gentlemen, if I'm not on the podcast that we recorded after the festive period, it's that man's fault.
Yes, definitely my fault. Yes, that will definitely be the case. Yes, so there are tickets still available for this. I do not believe there are tickets in the away end, or might there be?
Down to single digits, I think. It's very, very close. I am going with the family, and they did it on a point system again. So if you have a season ticket, you've instantly got 240 points. And if you've been to other games on top of that, cup games, away games, you get another 10 points. And you had to have a minimum of 260 points for this one. So season ticket and 2 games in the bag. 3/4 of us, all good, had to wait for general sale, which meant that to get Sarah's one, but that meant that all of the seats that we would have liked had kind of gone, so we've just got what we were given in the end. However, Mr. Walker will be in attendance at Wednesday and this one as well. He is making the trip out of the county with us, so...
Good man. So obviously it's the rematch of our respective teams. So one of us has to give the prediction last. I think we always give it to the away side as the tiebreaker for the going last, which obviously means that Matt will have to give us his first prediction. Obviously, just to clarify, this game was played 3 weeks ago at Hull, and it finished 4-1 to the Borough. So will that sway anyone's judgment for the reverse fixture? Let's see.
No, I've sat on the fence again because
Hey!
I've just gone for a 1-1 draw. Conway and Balumi.
Very nice. I am pretty much in agreement in the fact that I've also gone for a draw. I've gone for Whittaker and Sen, and McBurney and Slater to score for Hull, which just leaves us with Mr. Woodmansey to give us the final prediction of that particular game.
I feel like we did ourselves an injustice the other week.
There
was a lot of players out injured, coming back from injury, and for whatever reason, they decided that Friday night under the lights live on Sky was the perfect time to not fucking bother. So I feel like, for want of a better expression, they've got the shithouse sort of spine of the team back in order. Lundstrom as well should be back in the fold. And yes, John, if you're listening, I'm including you in that bracket. So I feel like that it'll be a bit more of a scrap, this one, rather than the absolute walkover that it was. And because they're going to have a chip on their shoulder after the other week, I'm even going out on a limb and going to say that Hull are going to win 2-1.
Ooh, nice.
I'm going to go for Conway to score because, you know, they've got the Christmas period to install that barn door. And I've gone for McBurney and Akintola. Akintola is one that's been coming off the bench recently. And he's a big dude. He's a very, very physical guy, but he's got a shot on him as well. So I don't think he'll be prolific over the season because of his limited starting, but he's got to get a few more goals here and there, I think, for how he plays.
Yeah. Annoyed that between us, none of us have gone for Crooks to score, which seems odd.
Nah, you see, you could have burnt your Giles card there as well, couldn't you? But nah.
No, he won't score against the Borough. He'll only get assists against the Borough. That's exactly how that particular one works. So that just leaves us with one final game of the initial festive period, and it takes us back to the City Ground where Nottingham Forest are taking on Everton. Obviously, it's Mr. Mo's team. He will give his prediction last. Are you in attendance?
I am in attendance for this one, yes.
I got it right. Eventually.
First time in a long time as well. I was
going to say, when would the last time you'd have been to the City Ground been?
It's that long ago. I can't remember.
I'm assuming we're talking outside of the particular decade that we're currently in.
Yes. So I was going to go, and then COVID hit. Yeah. So then COVID hit. Then we got promoted, and then the tickets became rocket horse shit. I think I went to away games because obviously Newcastle decided to get themselves relegated a couple of times. So I went to the old cathedral in the Championship, as it were, as it was at the time, a couple of times then. So it's been a while, kind of since I've been to. So yes, 7:30 on the 30th on a nice Tuesday night, nice and chilly.
Yeah. Hopefully, it'll be made better by a 2-1 Nottingham Forest win. I've gone for Gibbs, White, and Anderson to score for Forest, and everyone's favourite slicked back superstar Jack Grealish to score for Everton. Stu?
I've given him a few more days to find his feet and learn to walk, so I've gone for Jesus 1-0.
The saviour is born. How do you see it going, or how do you hope that it pans out?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a 10-0 home win. That's what he's hoping for. Get value for his money as well.
Yes.
1-0 Jesus by any chance?
No, exactly the same as what you've put. Literally
2-1.
Yes.
Oh man, there you go. Well, I mean, if that doesn't tell us that as a collective podcast, we need to put at least 10 quid on 2-1 Forest Everton. Yeah, Filter's making it impossible to read that.
Making it done.
Yeah, I don't know how we'd put that bet on with all three goal scorers and the correct score. But if I can find a way, look at that, lovely, absolutely perfect. Yeah, tune in next week. Well, no, technically, tune in 2 weeks' time to see if we were able to get that bet on and if we did indeed make some money off it. So that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of Week 18's festive fixtures. And all that's left for me to do is to say thank you to these two gentlemen for joining me to go through last week's games and to talk about the upcoming fixtures that will be played over the Christmas period. Obviously, if you're listening along, thank you very much. We all wish you a very nice Christmas or whatever you celebrate period. Hope you get to some games yourselves. And just a quick throw forward. Next week's podcast will just be predictions for the following week's games. Obviously, we're getting a little bit ahead of time. We're going to record those in advance, so no wrap up of these fixtures in next week's show. Just predictions for the following week. So we're back to normal, back in the new year. But until then, thank you for listening, and we'll see you in. Well, we'll be back next week, but we'll be back in our correct guys in a couple of weeks. Very happy times. See you in a bit. Tatty bye for now.
So there we go, which thing's that? Another one done, another one gone. Merry Christmas to you all from us here at CookieCast. Merry Christmas from the football guys. All the guys, the wrestling guys, the Formula 1 guys, the football guys, the NFL guys, the football guys. Me. Merry Christmas from us all. Do come back next week because I am reliably informed there is Football Podcast next week. So tune in for that. Before then, if you want to be kept informed, kept in the loop, click all the buttons, the like, the share, the subscribe, the comment. Then, leave a review, leave a comment. Don't just click the button and then, leave it. Just review it. Comment. Do it. Check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button. That way you can get in touch with us. That's it for this one. That is nearly it for this year, but there's still more to come before that. I'm just preparing you, ready for the inevitable. Big thank you for watching, big thank you for listening, big thank you for being here. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to these grumpy old men talk about football. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share and subscribe.